2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Let me tell you, the response to the show has been absolutely amazing. People can't believe that a young conservative millennial continues to fight for constitutional principles, traditional values, and talks about issues that some are even afraid to talk about. But we do it because we understand the importance of this. And now we're seeing it absolutely blow up all across the nation.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
You're darn right, it's the Voice of Reason. Hey, welcome into the program. It is the post Monday, the pre Friday. It is the Thanksgiving Eve right here on the Voice of Reason. Happy pre-Thanksgiving to you. Great to have you along for the ride today. Broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station, all over the country on radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. Doesn't matter where you're at. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I appreciate it very much. I know you're getting ready for the holidays. I know, so right now you're kind of in limbo. Do we go visit the family? Do we not go visit the family? Do we start cooking? Are we just going to blow up the backyard? I do have to admit, I find it absolutely comical and hysterical that every single year fire departments all over the nation need to give out tips on how to properly fry your turkey, because that seems to be one of the biggest traditions, to be able to fry the turkey every single year for Thanksgiving. So they have to do the tutorials, like the news outlets have to do the fun news stories. They're like, this is how you properly do it. And then they go to the fire department. They're like, hey, can you do a little representation of this? Could you fry a turkey for us on camera so you can show how to properly do it so we don't blow up our backyard? And they're like, well, you need to make sure it's absolutely dry before you put it in there. You need to thaw it out days beforehand. My tips. Now, I'm a relatively decent cook. I think Mrs. Voice of Reason would concur. I don't do it as much as I'd like to, because I actually honestly like to cook sometimes. But my tip would be to microwave that sucker. Pull it out of the freezer tomorrow about 10 o'clock in the morning, stick it in the freezer, or stick it in the microwave, put it on high for about 10 minutes, and you're good to go. See, that's, no, not working, not good. All right. Just throwing it out there, trying to help a fellow listener out. Welcome into the show. We have a lot to get to today. I'm going to try and keep it somewhat lighthearted today because it is before Thanksgiving and we're trying to get into the holiday mode. So here's the question I want to ask you, and you can shoot me a message all over our social media with our live streaming on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, also on Parler.com, on Minds.com, and on the website at HooserReason.com. You can also email me, HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. I want to know two things. Number one, what are you thankful for this year? They can be numerous things. It could be one big thing, whatever it is. I want to know what you are thankful for this year, because we do have a lot to be thankful for. Even though it is a very stressful time of year, It is a stressful time this year with 2020, with COVID-19. We have the uncertainty with the elections. We have a lot of frustrating politics that's going on. Brush all that aside for just a second. What are you thankful for? That's number one. Number two, I want to hear about your favorite Thanksgiving recipe. A food, a platter, whatever it is, a drink, I don't care. I want to hear from those two things. We have the live stream on Podbean. We have the live stream on social media. We have the email address at HooserMediaNetwork at gmail.com. Email me, shoot me a message, whatever. I want to know what you're thankful for and your favorite recipe, either drink or food or whatever it is for Thanksgiving. I'd love to hear from you on that one. I have a lot to be thankful for. Absolutely. I am thankful for the greatest family on the face of the earth with Mrs. Voice of Reason and Little Voice of Reason. They are what keep me going every single day. The fight that we fight sometimes gets discouraging, sometimes gets down, but you know what? I continue it on because it's for them and their future, and Little Voice of Reason especially. There are a lot of individuals that don't even like to have children anymore because they're like, oh, what kind of world am I going to have to raise them in? I feel really bad for her generation when she starts dating and she first has to decide whether they're actually a male or female, because in today's times, you don't really know. Second off, a guy can't hit on her or try to flirt with her because then it would be ultra masculinity and they would be shamed in public and they would have to go to a masculinity confession booth, and then she's just going to have a whole bunch of beta males that actually have to choose from. So I feel really bad for her generation. She is going to be the tough one of the family. I'm just going to throw that out there. Little Voice of Reason, that's what she's all about. She is all about the strong-willed. She's very, girly, totally girly. She loves the Barbies. Frozen, the Disney show Frozen, Elsa and Anna, that's her favorite thing in the whole world still. However, at the same time, she's going to be like an MMA boxer or something, I swear. Because she's not going to take anything. She is very strong-willed, kind of like her mommy and daddy. Just throwing it out there. So I feel bad for her because she will be the masculine one of the family if the trends continue the way that they do. But I'm thankful for them. I'm thankful for the fact that I get to do what I love to do every single day by talking about issues, trying to dive deeper into the issues, unveiling the layers of the onion, and to actually have a conversation with guests, with experts, and you and I bantering, having a good time. This is what I dream of doing. This is what I'm going to do the rest of my life, I hope. And the fact that I get to do it every day with you makes it all the more special. And of course, you, the listener, the fact that you listen to my crazy rants every single day, I appreciate that very much. It really does, truly, from the bottom of my heart, mean more to me than you could ever imagine. The fact that we're growing. Oh my gosh, are we growing? The podcast numbers continuously going up. The views on social media. More radio stations wanting to pick up the show. More TV networks talking about picking up the show. Us creating the Hooser Media Network and us growing in other aspects as well. So much is going on at such a fast rate. I cannot wait to share more of it with you, and you're hanging on for the ride each and every day. So thank you. That is what I'm thankful for. That's my sappiness of the day. I really do appreciate that more than you can ever imagine. I'm still grateful that we have a President Donald Trump right now that is still President of the United States.
This year, our nation commemorates the 400th anniversary of the Pilgrims landing on Plymouth Rock. After arriving in the New World, the brave men and women of the Mayflower endured a bitter and dangerous winter, very, very dangerous winter. Many were sick, most were starving, and all were praying for a miracle. Thankfully, God heard their prayers. From our earliest days, America has always been a story of perseverance and triumph, determination and strength, loyalty and faith. This week, in a time that is very unusual, but in so many ways very, very good, what we've endured and been able to endure, with the vaccines now coming out one after another, it's an incredible thing that happened. One of the greatest medical achievements that this planet has ever seen. But it's time to remember that we live in a great, great country, the greatest of them all, and there's nothing even close as far as I'm concerned. Every American can be united in thanksgiving to God for the incredible gifts He has bestowed upon us, the blessings of family, community, and this exceptional, beautiful, and great country. It's greater than ever before.
That right there is what I'm thankful for. The fact that we live in this greatest nation on the face of the earth, and that our president right now is actually happy to say that. Not saying that for the first time in their life they're happy and that they want to fundamentally transform the nation from what it is to what they want it to be, but they are happy that they love this country and that they're going to fight for it each and every day. That's what I'm thankful for right now. President Donald Trump, thank you for what you've done. I know the ongoing battles with the investigations for the election continue, but regardless of whatever happens, we know that he's a great patriot and we appreciate him very, very much. I'm also thankful, I don't know if you heard the news today, today.
What's trending today?
That just about an hour or so ago, President Donald Trump released a statement on social media, on Twitter and on Facebook, officially pardoning General Michael Flynn, the three-star general that was let go after some of the shenanigans in Washington, D.C., and he was pardoned completely and fully the day before Thanksgiving here. So that is wonderful news. General Flynn is an amazing patriot. He's an amazing American, and we are so thankful for what he continuously does for the nation, even while he's not in a position right now in Washington, D.C., but a three-star general that's fought for this country immensely, and President Donald Trump officially pardoning him just a little bit ago. So those are all things I'm thankful for. I want to hear from you as well, as I'm starting to see some of the messages here as well. Favorite recipe, Mom's sweet potato casserole. All right. Sausage balls as well. That sounds really good. Actually, I want to get a recipe. I don't know anything about it, but it sounds really good. Talking about the sausage balls is that I saw on TV, I think it was yesterday, last night, or this morning, that someone was making meatballs or sausage balls, but then they were making a barbecue sauce, but it was a cranberry barbecue sauce. I know. I really need to get that recipe because that sounds absolutely delicious. Now, usually when I make barbecue sauce, and yes, I do make a homemade barbecue sauce, I make it with a little more spice to it. I'll add the jalapenos, some diced up jalapenos into the barbecue sauce and do it that way just for a little bite, of a jalapeno bite. Not much, but like it tastes like jalapeno, and it's got just a hair of a bite to it, but it's mostly just got the flavor to it. So I've never made a sweet one like a cranberry barbecue sauce. That sounds delightful. So if you have a recipe for that, you can always send that to me as well. And email that to me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. My kids' health, that's a big one. So yes, the kids' health, very good. I'm glad that you're thankful for those sorts of things. Wonderful family and myself. Honestly, school is a challenge for grandchildren. Absolutely. As they only learn about 60% of what they should. Well, that is a struggle right now. But at least, you know what? Here's the positive news. I guess something else we can be thankful for as well is the fact that we get to do some homeschooling and actually kind of re-educate them the proper way. There was a little flaw in the nice, if you want to call them the globalists or the establishment or the elites or whatever, when they try and start doing virtual learning, is that we get more one-on-one hands-on training with our education of our children at home, which is what we haven't been able to do for a very long time. And with that, we get to utilize that opportunity to actually educate them the proper way and not have the Common Core garbage through the public school system teach them that America's bad, that the Founding Fathers are terrible, that math needs to be this ridiculous process. My little one, Little Voice of Reason, she is a math whiz, as she is learning math addition and subtraction right now in first grade, and I love it because I'm going to she takes after me. I read a little bit, I write a little bit, obviously, but I really enjoyed math in school. Mrs. Voice of Reason, on the other hand, she was all about the reading and writing. Little Voice of Reason, she kind of takes after me. She's starting to grasp the whole spelling and reading and writing, but she's all about the math whiz, so that's kind of neat as well. But yes, we get to re-educate a little bit and do it on our own terms. That was President Donald Trump yesterday when he was pardoning the turkeys, by the way.
Today it is my honor to present to you this year's lucky bird, corn, and just in case we needed him, cob. Corn and cob. That's not too hard to remember, is it?
Not sure where they come up with these ridiculous names, but nonetheless, that was the speech yesterday. Joe Biden came out as the quote-unquote president-elect of the United States to try and make a nice unifying speech before Thanksgiving today. This is what he had to say.
And gratitude, even in the face of suffering, have long been part of what Thanksgiving means in America. You know, looking back over our history, you see that it's been in the most difficult circumstances that the soul of our nation has been forged. And now we find ourselves again facing a long, hard winter. We fought a nearly year-long battle with a virus that has devastated this nation. It's brought us pain and loss and frustration. And it's cost so many lives. 260,000 Americans and counting. It's divided us, angered us, set us against one another. I know the country has grown weary of the fight. We need to remember we're at war with a virus, not with one another, not with each other. This is the moment where we need to steel our spines, redouble our efforts, and recommit ourselves to the fight. Let's remember, we're all in this together. Sounds trite to say it, but we're all in this together. For so many of us, it's hard to hear this fight isn't over. And we still have months of this battle ahead of us.
All right, so that was his unifying speech. That was the quote-unquote President-elect Joe Biden speaking earlier today, trying to talk about Happy Thanksgiving, and it sounds vaguely familiar to what Donald Trump said just yesterday about the battles, but they took it a different route. Donald Trump saying, you know what, the greatness of this nation, and even though it's terrible and we have a lot going through, we're surviving because we're Americans. That's what we do, and that's why America is the greatest place on the face of the earth, and that our Thanksgiving this year does vaguely resemble what happened so many years ago with the very first Thanksgiving in the United States. A very heartwarming, very patriotic speech from Donald Trump. This one from Joe Biden kind of touched on it, but was more just like, well, yeah, we have a lot of similarities and just fight, and we need to get together and continue to wear masks and not see each other on Thanksgiving. It was more the call to action to try and do the COVID crap for Thanksgiving, as opposed to we're the fighters and we're the victors because we're Americans and Americans are just awesome. A little bit of a difference there, isn't there? He continued. We'll do that when we come back here on The Voice of Reason. It's a Wednesday, your pre-Thanksgiving celebration. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on The Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with The Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe to any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out today on a Wednesday, your pre-Friday, your post Monday, your pre-Thanksgiving celebration right here on the show. Trying to keep it lighthearted, yet there's a lot to get to today, so we'll try and cover as much of it as we can. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we have Dr. Caleb Rossiter coming on the program. He's the Executive Director for CO2 Coalition. As we talk about climate change and as we talk about American technology making the climate better already, and why are we blocked out in certain nations to help them innovate their technology, as in Africa. So we'll talk with him coming up here in just a few minutes. Looking forward to chatting with him. I still want to hear, though, what you're thankful for this Thanksgiving. You can shoot a comment on all of our social media, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, also on Parler.com and on Minds.com. What are you thankful for this year? And your favorite recipe, because I may have to try some of it this year. I have to admit that, as I mentioned, I cook a little bit. Mrs. Voice of Reason handling most of it, although I will be cooking two things, I think. I'm going to be making my deviled eggs, because that's what I do really well, and I enjoy that. Also, I'm going to try the family recipe of the cranberry salad. Now, I can only take small portions of it at a time because it's very sweet, and I don't like a whole lot of sweet things, but I really enjoy the cranberry salad, so I'm going to give it my shot this year and see if I can do it. So if you have any other recipes, I'm still waiting for anybody, too. If you have any cranberry barbecue recipes, like cranberry barbecue sauce, I'm dying to try some of that, so let me know if you have some of that as well. Let's see here. Sweet potato casserole, that sounds pretty good. I'm thankful for you and Mark Walters and my family. Well, definitely appreciative to you for listening to the show. Thank you so much for that. And speaking of Mark Walters with Armed American Radio, I will be filling in for him on Friday for his daily defense with Armed American Radio. So looking forward to jumping on that national talk show, talking some Second Amendment issues and having fun with that one. So I'll be filling in again, Mark Walters and Armed American Radio. You can find him online, armedamericanradio.org. You can find that show, and I'll be filling in for that on Friday. And I've decided I was going to do a best of for my show on Friday. We're going to do a best of tomorrow, so we won't be having a program tomorrow. I was going to do a best of Friday as well, but since I'm filling in for his show and my show's like directly afterwards, we might as well just keep the ball rolling. So we will be live on Friday for both programs as well. Make sure to stay tuned in for that one. Joe Biden gave his speech earlier today about trying to unify America, trying to unify everybody together, trying to give the happy Thanksgiving, but at the same time, don't really do a whole lot of Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving's really bad when you congregate with people and you're just going to kill everybody with COVID-19. So while he really focused on the fear tactics of this is what you need to do, typical progressive, this is what we want you to do, so this is for what I'm going to tell you to do, as opposed to Donald Trump, we're in a difficult time, but we're going to continue to battle because that's how awesome we are. Joe Biden did try to relate to individuals this year. Did it work, or did it come off just a little bit hokey? Here's what he had to say earlier today.
For those who've lost a loved one, I know that this time of year can be especially difficult. Believe me, I know. I remember that first Thanksgiving, the empty chair, the silence takes your breath away. It's really hard to care. It's hard to give thanks. It's hard to even think of looking forward. And it's so hard to hope. I understand. I'll be thinking and praying for each and every one of you at this Thanksgiving, at your Thanksgiving table, because we've been there. This year we're asking Americans to forego so many of the traditions that we've long made in this holiday. It's made it so special.
Kind of a downer, man. Now, again, nothing against that part of it, trying to be relatable and losing someone, and it is definitely very difficult during the holidays. So there's nothing wrong with that statement in any way, shape, or form. I guess I'm torn, personally, because as a leader, I don't want leaders to necessarily be overly emotional and try to connect too terribly much. I want them to lead and say it's terrible what we're fighting through and we will prevail because we're just that awesome, which is why I love Donald Trump's speech so much yesterday. And with Joe Biden, it was more of a downer, I guess, was saying this is what you have to do, what we want you to do. And it's very difficult with people that have lost loved ones and can't be near loved ones this year. I get it. It is very difficult. So I appreciate the words. It's just kind of a downer instead of an upper and kind of a motivational thing, isn't it? It's kind of a difference in style, I guess. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. Lots more coming up on The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book, Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast, Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right you are. Welcome back into the show. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting all over the country. Thanks for hanging out with us today as we are killing it on some of the social media streams. So thank you for that very much. We've had a lot of new people jumping on, actually the Twitch as well. We are on Twitch. You can find us on there at Hooser Reason, Hooser Reason. A lot of people, we've actually created a profile on there now. I never knew how Twitch works, so I just kind of had it on there, but I never really built a profile. But now we actually have built a page on Twitch. We've scheduled the shows on there to live stream video-wise every single day, and now we're getting a lot of new followers on there, new subscribers, so thank you for that. It started off as like a gaming thing, and now it's just all over the place with different types of live streams and shows, so you can watch us on Twitch, also on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, Parler.com. We have it live on there as well. Also just on the website at HooserReason.com, plus the numerous radio stations and TV stations all over the country. The Millennial General reporting for duty today. I'm still looking through some of these different recipes for Thanksgiving, and one of them, wild turkey with ice croutons. Well done, my friend. Well done. That's what I think that's the winning ticket of the day right there. I have to say, it reminds me of the college days. I was doing a radio show at the very beginning of the radio career in college, and I was asked what I was going to do for that Thanksgiving, and obviously I was a poor college kid. And I said, well, you know how you wrap like hot dogs in tortillas and you dip them in like ranch? Yeah. Oh, the good old days, right? Now Mrs. Voice of Reason is the one taking care of me, which is why I'm gaining so much weight, because she makes way too much food, and it's quite delicious as well. Leave me a comment. I want to hear all over on social media what your favorite recipes are for Thanksgiving, plus what you are thankful for. But until then, let's get to what's trending today. What do you say?
What's trending today?
I want to shift gears a little bit as we've talked about Thanksgiving. What are you thankful for? But at the same time, what can we do as Americans to help others? Obviously, there are great charities all over the nation that help people that are less fortunate, that are needy. And unfortunately, there's a lot of very needy individuals this year because of COVID-19 and some of the financial strains. But let's look beyond that. Let's go beyond that as well. Let's look at other nations. What can we do to make ourselves better and make other nations better? Now, the left side of the aisle despises colonialization, despises us getting involved in other nations unless it's just for political control. But technology, what can we offer? What can we do? The innovation that America has that makes us really the greatest nation on the face of the earth. When it comes to especially climate change, which, as you know, is one of my most favorite things to talk about on this show, because I love talking about the environmental individuals on the other side of the aisle and the radicalness that they go for when it comes to like the AOC's Green New Deal and those sorts of innovations. So what can we offer? They say that we are the number one producer of CO2 and greenhouse gases in the nation, and that we consume the most amount of resources and energy in the United States compared to any other country on the face of the earth, which I think is true. However, at the same time, as far as I'm aware, we're one of the most, we use it more efficiently with our technology than any other nation on the face of the earth. So I want to talk about some of that and more. And I'm really excited about our next guest here on the show. He is the executive director of the CO2 Coalition. You can find him online at co2coalition.org. You can also find him on Facebook at the CO2 Coalition. But it's Dr. Caleb Rossiter here with us. Doctor, how are you, my friend?
Andy, it's a real pleasure to be with you to talk about what we're thankful for and what people around the world could use a little bit more of, which is electricity in their home.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? I mean, they say that we just consume, that we are just the evil colonialists trying to spread our colonialism and our evil capitalism around the world. But when we do that, aren't we doing that to make lives better and to also save the environment all at the same time?
Yes, there's a reason that people come from the continent where I used to teach and work, Africa, would feel they died and got to heaven when they come to the United States, where we have had 100% electrification of homes and industries without blackouts, except in places like California that go out of their way to require renewable mandates rather than using the energy we have available. We had that since the 1940s, whereas Africa today, only 1/3 of the people, the billion people on the continent, have electricity in their home.
Wow. Unbelievable. I didn't know it was that low. I knew that we were slowly getting there, but I didn't realize how few individuals actually have that. Now, why is that? Is it just because we haven't reached certain parts of the continent? Is it just because people don't want it? Or is it just the politics behind it that won't allow us to do it?
It's I call it carbon colonialism. You talk about colonialism as a general concept, but carbon colonialism is where Europe and the United States, which control the votes at something called the World Bank that helps fund big projects for governments in Africa, like dams and power plants and roads and things, and then makes their money back over the years as those countries grow. So, sort of like issuing a bond. Those groups are controlled by the United States vote because we give more money, and the European vote. And since President Obama decided that climate change was somehow going to wash us all away, although it didn't stop him and John Kerry from buying oceanfront property in Martha's Vineyard, we stopped voting for, and in fact, we block at the World Bank and in our own Power Africa wonderful foreign aid program, we block American technology that could help what's called clean coal electricity in Africa. There are parts of Africa that are essentially coal mines with countries put on top. There is so much coal in Africa. It's available. It's cheap. The power plants are going to be built, but probably by the Chinese who won't scrub it. We have some of the most remarkable technology in the world in the energy sector, as you know. We've changed the course of the world with the hydraulic fracturing, or fracking we call it, to provide cheap natural gas, but also this new, they call it high efficiency, you're right on that, low emissions coal plants. We have one in Arkansas that services much of Texas. If you could import that coal plant to Africa and maintain it, and it's pretty easy to maintain. That's the report we've worked on, shows how easy it is to maintain. You know, you could provide electricity for Africans. Instead, they cook in their homes, Andy, with animal dung that is dried, with coal, with charcoal, and with wood. And people are, I've been inside these homes, and this is, remember, 2/3 of the homes on the continent, people are cooking inside. Well, what do you think that does to their rates of pneumonia and bronchitis that kills you? Last year, the World Health Organization said 439,000 Africans died because they're cooking indoors with wood and animal dung rather than using electricity.
Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate. It's so sad to hear. And I mean, there's a time and a place to go camping and cook over a wood-burning stove, but when you have to do that as a daily living in your home, and especially animal feces, I mean, I can only imagine what that does, as you mentioned, to your lungs and to your home when you're burning that in your home and you're breathing in those fumes. I mean, I'm surprised the number's not higher. I mean, I'm surprised they survive as they do right now.
Right. A researcher for the World Health Organization, who we cite in this new report on exporting our clean coal technology, says cooking in your home is like smoking 600 cigarettes an hour.
Wow. Wow. Unbelievable. We're talking with Dr. Caleb Rossiter. You can find him online on Twitter at Caleb_Rossiter, also on the website at co2coalition.org. Let's talk about some of the innovations that we have here in America that could be all over the place. And as you mentioned, some of the stuff in Kentucky and other parts of the nation where we make things high efficiency to where we may be consuming a lot, but we also are very efficient in the way we do it, so we don't have a lot of waste of energy. When we start talking about a transition to alternative energies like wind power and solar panel, is that where the future is going to be? And especially when it comes to countries like Africa, is it going to be the step like like we did with coal first and then moving up to that, or are we trying to get directly to these alternative energy modes of sources in Africa right away?
Well, first of all, your question implies that we should have control over that. That goes back to colonialism. These are proud, long-standing countries, and if their government thinks their best mix is a natural gas plant here, a coal plant here, to make the grid work, because you can't work the grid solely on wind and solar, and maybe some boutique solar and wind in small rural villages, that's fine. That's their business. But by denying them the right to import our best technology on high efficiency, low emissions, we're making that choice for them. And I think Africa's had enough time with, the West telling them how to do things. They've got a lot of trained engineers. I used to teach at a university in South Africa, and I can tell you, technically as a university, it's as good as Wichita State, it's as good as Bowling Green, it's as good as Cornell, where I went. They've got the people that can operate these plants. We're just denying them the right to import our technology. So we're calling on President Trump to follow up his pardon of the two turkeys. I think their names were Corn and Cobb.
Yes.
With a pardon for Africa, he could issue an executive order and sort of complete his work. You have to remember, I'm a Democrat, and I'll tell you right now, I hold up President Trump in high esteem for what he's done for energy, the ability to get energy to people in the United States for a very reasonable price over his last 4 years. He got rid of the commitments to cut our energy under the Paris Climate Accord, which would not have required China to cut any of its energy. He got rid of Obama's Clean Power Plan by executive order that would have made it almost impossible to get electricity from the coal-fired plants that we have. And now he can just complete that by an executive order that would say, no, we are going to vote to help an African country who wants to do it, import our remarkable technology so that they can stop losing so many people to indoor air pollution.
Boy, wouldn't that be really amazing? Dr. Caleb Rossiter, can you stick over one more segment with us? We got to take a break, but I'd love to continue the conversation.
Oh, we're just getting warmed up. Thank you.
Just getting warmed up. Fantastic. Hang tight. I want to continue this because when we come back, I want to talk about some of the stuff that you mentioned with some of these energy plans on what President Trump has done when it comes to the Paris Climate Accord and what that could look like under a potential Joe Biden presidency, and then some of these other nations like Africa, like these other nations that are affected by what we do in our policy making in our nation. How it affects them and what we could do to actually make their lives better and give them the opportunities. And as you mentioned, let them make their choices, but do it with actual options on the table rather than the so-called choices where, yeah, you can have choices, but these are the choices that you're only going to be allowed to have. So we're going to limit what choices you can actually do to make yourself a bigger and better place. We'll talk about that and more when we come back here. It's Dr. Caleb Rossiter. You can find him. He's also the American Exceptionalism Media Project Director with that project as well. Lots to get to here on The Voice of Reason as we wrap up for a Thanksgiving celebration here on The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station.
We're here for you.
Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the voice of reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
You're darn right you are. Welcome back into the show. Last segment as we wrap up today on a Wednesday, the pre-Thanksgiving celebration right here on The Voice of Reason. Trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time. Thanks for hanging out with us today, especially with our guest, which I think he's going to have to be a semi-regular guest on the program. Love the conversation. He is the executive director for the CO2 Coalition. He's also the director of the American Exceptionalism Media Project. You can find the website at co2coalition.org. Also on Facebook and Twitter at Caleb_Rossiter. It's Dr. Caleb Rossiter hanging out with us here as we talk about some of the environmentalism, the CO2, and policy changes, policy making when it comes to environmentalism, not just for the United States, but around the world. And it really does reinforce the idea that we are extremely lucky to be here in the United States and what we have here in the nation and what we take for granted every day. The fact that I can do a radio show all over the place and do a live video stream on like 10 different sources and not have the internet or the electricity black me out. Just a wild thought right there, right? So it's crazy to think about how much we do take for granted each and every day. Now, Doctor, let's talk about some of the policies that we have done. As you mentioned, the Trump administration over the last couple of years when it comes to environmentalism, we've become energy independent in the nation. We've gotten rid of the Paris Climate Accord. We got out of that. And we've worked really hard to try and actually increase our sustainability and our efficiency when it comes to energy production in the nation. Could we do that potentially and give that option to other nations around the world if we had the opportunity and if they had the opportunity to actually see it?
Well, I mean, I think we already are. The invention over a very long period of trial and error by capitalists trying to make as much money as they could and going broke a few times in the hydraulic fracturing business, the fracking business, by about the year 2010, paid off in spades. And suddenly, areas that we thought there were no more resources in, about a mile below the Earth's surface, were accessible because of fracking. You have to remember, all fracking takes place a mile down, well below any place there can be environmental problems, bringing up natural gas that's down there. What has that done in America? Well, made us energy independent. We now export natural gas all over the world, and we're a net exporter of power. But also, remember, America, we're not Africa, but we've got a lot of poor people, people on limited incomes.
Sure.
And according to the National Institutes of Health, Andy, 11,000 American lives are saved every year because of fracking and the way it brings down the price of natural gas so that you can heat in the winter in places like Ohio, New England, up in the northern states. It actually saves lives. People will die at higher rates from pneumonia and bronchitis when they can't afford to keep the heat on because the price of gas or the price of heat is so much. So we've seen benefits in our country to human health from our tremendous energy exploration, but also to the environment. Wow. One of the contradictions is the more fossil-fueled your economy is, because it's so efficient and so reliable versus intermittent wind and solar, you can afford to clean up the environment. Nobody can deny that America's environment under Trump is cleaner. The air is cleaner. The water is cleaner as he leaves office than when he came in, continuing a long trend from the 1950s. It's just an irony of development that you have to get wealthy before you can afford to spend money cleaning up your air and water. And Africa is not at the point where they can do that. If you were in Africa doing your radio show, when the power went down, you'd flip a switch outside your building there, and diesel generators would power on to give you, by burning diesel fuel, the electricity you want. If you've ever stood near a diesel generator, you'll know what that does to people's health in Africa as the air is filled with soot and spewing everywhere. We've sort of dieselized Africa. We should be actually trying to electrify Africa.
Yeah, no, that would be amazing. We just got about a minute or so left here before we let you go. Africa is one of those places I've always wanted to go visit. I've only gotten out of the country one time as we went and tried to do tsunami relief out in Sri Lanka back in 2005. But outside of that, I've always wanted to go to Africa. In about 20 seconds, where's the most beautiful places? If I ever do go, where do I need to go?
First of all, Andy, it doesn't matter because the African people are the friendliest, most eager to help travelers and lost souls. They always have been through history. But if you start in South Africa, we call it Africa Light. Everything that's in Africa is somewhere in South Africa, from traditional to modern. And the water is clean. You can drink it because the electricity helps purify it. And there is full electrification because of their coal plants. So I'd start in South Africa, and it's a beautiful country, and the people are wonderful too.
I love it. Definitely got to go check it out. Dr. Caleb Rossiter, it's a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. Happy Thanksgiving to you and the family. Let's do this again real soon. We'd love to get you back on the show.
Thanks so much, Andy. Talk to you soon.
Hey, you as well. Always a pleasure right there. That does it for us today. Podcast going up a little bit. It's time for you to become your own voice of reason. It's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. We're back at it live on Friday right here on The Voice of Reason. Until then, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. This is The Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you on the radio. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.